So, people are like, why didn't you edit that out when you make a video, like you coming to the table? Because I don't. Wait a minute, I gotta make this sound like a Fuji commercial, even though I have no sponsor. I mean, you really think anybody would sponsor me? Somebody that looks like me? I'm gonna put on my official GFX hat. Fujifilm GFX hat. Here's a real ultimate lowdown on the GFX. I always like to make videos that no one else is making on important points. There's a lot of really important stuff that nobody talks about. And they're like, wow, this camera's great, it does that. It's like, so what, I didn't get that information online anywhere. Here's a fact. Nikon D5, for example, priced at $6,500. I can't stand the camera, but it is undoubtedly, you know, a hardcore hitter for sports and action. Not for wildlife. Unfortunately, the damn camera has an AA filter, and it's a full-frame 20 megapixel. It does have incredible high ISO performance. What does that have to do with the GFX? Well, ironically enough, and it's not by coincidence, the Fujifilm GFX, both of them are made in Japan, by the way, is also $6,500. Now, what does the Nikon D5 and the Fujifilm GFX have in common? They're both $6,500. They're both made in Japan. I know for an absolute fact that the per unit value in production is higher on the Fujifilm GFX than the Nikon D5. It just is. I know that for absolute fact. That's not important for the end user, though, is it? No, of course it's not. Not important at all. What they also additionally have in common for $6,500 is, like, what is the absolute penultimate? If I were to, like, grab a 500mm 5.6 prime and go out and shoot, I don't know, something at the Olympics. Like, I'm going to grab a Nikon D5 and, you know, 400, 500mm lens, 600mm lens. Preferably, I'd actually rather bring a Nikon D500, but let's just say the Nikon D5. It's got a dual processor for insane fast autofocus. Okay, so that's it. That is it. That's the Maserati, the Lamborghini for sports and action, right? Okay, now what if I'm posing somebody, or I'm doing a corporate gig, product photography, high-end fashion, high-end portraiture. Specifically, it's for a hardcore product, commercial, architectural. You know, the absolute penultimate image, unless you want to dish out $45,000 for a Phase 1, 100 megapixel Phase 1. The Fujifilm is it. It beats the Pentax Z. And certainly SL beats the Hasselblad X1D. No comparison. It beats the Mamiya Leaf hands down, which I almost bought one a couple years ago. So, what you have for $6,500 in a different category of photography with the GFX. My head is getting too hot wearing this hat. What you have for $6,500 is the penultimate image quality. Anybody that has that camera takes a few shots of whatever it is they like doing, product photography, architectural, portraiture. You take a look, drop those, and it's a bare sensor, by the way, 51.4 megapixels. By the way, it takes adapted lenses beautifully. It is the penultimate in image quality. That is it, period. That's it. 150 megabytes plus on the uncompressed RAWs, 65 megabytes average on the lossless compressed RAWs, 33 plus average on superfine JPEGs. Hope you're not a JPEG shooter. However, if you're just actually taking certain shots and they turn out perfectly fine on white balance and whatnot, considering how awesome the JPEGs are, I mean, those are, that's for magazine, for print. There's nothing wrong with actually using the JPEGs from the GFX. I mean, the JPEG files from the GFX are bigger than most cameras' RAW files are. That should tell you something. So that's it. Fujifilm at $6,500 in comparison with the Nikon D5 has made a camera with penultimate, excuse me, not penultimate, I used the wrong word again. The ultimate, I said penultimate. Excuse me, someone's going to correct me on that. They're going to say, oh, you used the word penultimate. Ultimate image quality on the GFX. So that's the lowdown. That's what you're getting for $6,500. A magnesium chassis camera made slowly, carefully, accurately in Japan. You're looking for absolute pinnacle image quality. It is the Fujifilm GFX. That's it. So $6,500 is that floating mark. set by Nikon. Fujifilm also follows that exact same price. It's actually probably not by coincidence at all that Fujifilm priced it exactly the same price as the Nikon D5. D5, this is it for sports action. Absolute ultimate image quality, same price. GFX, 51.4 megapixels. Incredible saturation, incredible micro contrast. Absolutely incredible. Amazing dynamic range. I mean, it'll just blow the... I'm not the only person. You know, I have a Nikon D810, which is not a shabby camera. I mean, if you have a Nikon... Everybody that has a GFX and also has a Nikon D810, which is more than a few people, they've all said the same things. Like, geez, the Nikon D810 doesn't get any love anymore. It doesn't. And when you use the GFX, you look back at the Nikon D810 and go, yeah. So... that's the real simplicity is divinity lowdown on the GFX, and that's the reason why I had to draw a lot of comparisons between it and the Nikon D5. Guarantee you that the GFX will last longer than a D5 under similar abuse circumstances. However, you don't really abuse GFX cameras like you do sports action cameras, of course. It's also technically a wildlife camera. The best wildlife camera is a Nikon D500. You want that pixel pitch for extreme croppability. You get more translational data per square area of the sensor. So that's it on the GFX. The GFX is the absolute top of image quality, outside of spending another 40 grand. You spend another 40 grand and you'll get... That's the way with a lot of stuff. It's like you spend a tremendous amount more money, but you only get like 3% better output or performance. 3 to 5%. Which is exactly what you'd be getting on a 100 megapixel phase 1. So, 6500 isn't that bad. I keep hearing people say, "Oh, the GFX is too expensive." Compared to what? I mean, it's the best image quality output, and it is. I don't hear people that own Nikon D5s complaining about the cost of the D5. They bought it. I don't particularly like the Nikon D5 for several valid reasons, but people shouldn't be complaining. It's like, well, do you want the absolute best image quality? Yeah, I do. Well, it's the GFX. Price the same price as a Nikon D5. I see, the stupid thing I see is that I don't see anybody complaining about buying a damn Nikon D5. Nobody. And yet all these people, the Fuji, the GFX is too expensive. Compared to what, damn it? Same price as a D5. Why is nobody bitching about the Nikon D5? But all these people are bitching about the GFX. Do you get my point? It's like, well, this one's the best for sports and action. It's $6,500. If you're a working paid photographer, you get that. Okay? Boom. Okay. Nobody's complaining. Well, this one has the absolute best image quality. It'll just make your crotch melt. The images are so saturated, incredible dynamic range. Boom. Oh, but everybody's bitching about the cost of a GFX. You see the problem there? What the hell? Makes no sense. No sense at all. Loco en la cabeza. No, I don't speak Spanish, but I think I know that little phrase. Probably because other people said it about me now. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.